back to Unmuted Nation. It is just, listen, okay. This story, and there's going to be a lot of opinions here. There's going to be a lot of thoughts here. A lot of, it's a private school. Why did you subject your daughter to that? You didn't have to. I know your comments are going to be all over the place. I do welcome them. You can use the hashtag Unmuted Nation on Twitter or Instagram. Of course, always you can drop your comments to comments at unmutednation.com. If you get long-winded and you want to express your opinion, and you may hear yourself, later in the week on this show. Now, this story, I'm from Oklahoma. And just bear with me, right? I think I'll give you perspective. I'll give you thoughts. I'll give you honesty. I give you what I got. So an Oklahoma mother said she is now looking for a new school for her 8-year-old daughter after the girl was expelled from a private Christian school for having a crush on another girl. Delaney Shelton said the family had been enrolled in for several years. Rejoice Christian Schools expelled her daughter Chloe for telling her classmate that she had a crush on her. Delaney said she was upset and crying and asked me if God still loved her, if she was wrong for the way that she feels. The action taken by the school has left Delaney shocked. Well, listen, the superintendent called Delaney and said we would be ending their partnership with the family. Delaney said she was most upset by the discussion she had with the school. She said her daughter is too young to comprehend same-sex relationships, and that the school made her feel ashamed. Delaney went on to say, I don't believe that my kids should have been ripped from the only school they've been to in the past 4 years. The family is now looking for a new school for Chloe to go to in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. Their story has received a lot of attention, including from Scott Carson, a local pastor who doesn't agree with the school's decision. Carlson said, he went on record to say, my thoughts and beliefs would be that the school would want a good relationship with the parents. I imagine the parents are hurt. Carlson follows the Bible and said he has his beliefs about marriage, but he said the school could have handled the situation better. Hopefully the parents understand or understood where the school stood on these issues before they enrolled their child. Regardless, my thoughts here, she's 8 years old. If she was enrolled 4 years ago, she was 4 years old. Are we suspending 4-year-olds with crushes too? 4-year-olds that just learned what crush means? Or not cultivating children and helping them understand how they feel, why they feel, that they feel. And from a Christian perspective, or from a religious perspective, or from a school that believes a certain way, do you shun and shame and remove? Or do you understand, embrace, and even I feel like that's how we got to the problem, or to the place where people in this country thought it was okay to use conversion therapy. I think that's how we got to the point to where people speak on things that don't matter. I recall a time that my mom, I grew up in a very Christian family. I would say spiritual. We didn't have a lot of religious traditions, but I think there were traditional aspects. But my mom was she's very intent on keeping our family close. Extended family, chosen family, and she has always been open to discussion. And so, I must have been in my early 20s, and she sent a mass text to my friends, my best friends, and my family, my cousins, all of the local family in Atlanta. On the first Sunday of every month, we will have dinner. You will be here. And that's that. During the dinner, whether, they were grilling or cooking or whatever it was, the family was encouraged to be there, but there would be discussions. There were times that, on average, I think the lowest amount of people were there in one weekend. Thinking COVID right now, I'm freaking out. Maybe 11 or 12 people, but on most Sundays, it would be somewhere between 25 and 30 people on the regular, not the same ones every month, but people come through. And I remember this is before, so this is pre, the Obama administration passing or making same-sex marriage legal in the country. But I remember my mom asked me on the side what I thought about same-sex marriage. And at the time, I told her I really didn't have any thoughts. I really don't. Here's the thing. I have always been equality for all. That's my stance. And that's it. That's all. That's where I feel. That's what I say. I asked her, how do you feel? She was like, well, I'm not sure that I agree with it. which kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, if you want to talk about this, with 30 people, this is great. But my question to my mother, who's been married to my dad since 1982, they are still married, was if she was ever going to get same-sex married. And she kind of looked at me funny, like, what? But it's a real question. If you're never going to get same-sex married, well, why do you care? And she was like, that's a good point. Actually, I don't care. And it's each one teach one. Expand your mind, expand your thinking. I don't think that, I think that we could all have bigoted tendencies based on being bred into a bigoted society. But I think when you're able to expand your thinking to think about specifically what you're thinking, or why you think some way, or why you feel some way, or why you say that you don't agree with something, do you not agree with it because of your own bigoted tendencies, and you're like, oh, well, Alex, I'm not a bigot, I just don't agree with it, I believe that God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Like, first of all, shut the hell up. Second of all, bigot, a person who is it's Monday and I can't do it. Obstinately or unreasonably attached to a belief, opinion, or faction, especially one who is prejudiced against or antagonistic toward a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular group. So yes, you that don't like white people, you're a bigot. You that don't like black people, you're a bigot. You don't like Asian people or Mexicans. For some reason, you have some type of prejudice that is obstinately or unreasonably attached to a belief, opinion, or faction. Deviating, I'm not going here just yet, but it's part of the reason why after 9/11, anytime you saw someone, a person of Islamic faith with a hijab or a turban, you immediately, this is an unreasonable and obstinately belief attached to an opinion or faction that is prejudiced. You thought every person that you saw that practiced this faith was going to terrorize the plane or, cause a terrorist attack. And it's because that's what you saw. But it makes it unreasonable. You know what? It's not. What doesn't make you a bigot? To leave a movie theater with a white person walks in, when a white person walks in with a trench coat. Or to not want to send your child to school with a bunch of white kids that have no realm of responsibility, just because they are on record the only people that shoot up our schools. And see, I went all the way left here, and we're talking about this 8-year-old girl, and it's Monday, and I'm not even in that space. But my point, you get my point. I think you get the point, because I think the point connects. I think that protecting our children should be first and foremost. But I also think this mother, Delaney, let me talk to you for a moment. Come on in, lean in. Delaney, you knew that this church, or this school, Rejoice Christian Schools, Christian schools as they called it where I'm from, you knew. Well, first of all, despite you knowing, I want to drag Delaney, but I really can't. Your 8-year-old could decide that she has a crush on somebody at any time, at any moment. It could have happened she could have just had that moment or that thought, and she whispered it to the friend. She wasn't expecting to be expelled. Expulsion at 8 years old doesn't even comprehend, but it does translate to rejection. So you Christian parent that's like, I wouldn't want my child in no school where another girl is telling my child that she has a crush. We don't do that in this house. Bigot. You're a bigot. You are a bigot. Okay. We wasn't raised like that. My grandma, okay. How you were raised and how you feel, that they have nothing to do with one another. However, you can feel some type of way because you were raised to condemn yourself constantly. You were raised to, there are a number of things and issues here. This story troubling to me, though. Very troubling. It's really last week's story, but I thought I wasn't here for you, and so I wanted to bring that to the forefront, and I want to talk about this. Like, what's in what age, and why are we holding 8-year-olds responsible? And at what age will adults will be held, or will we start holding adults responsible? At what age are we going to finally say, listen, we need to hold these leaders responsible, or these organizations responsible for the way that they are shaping and framing the society that we all want? We want solid futures. We want to see our kids do well. We want to see success in the future. So are we limiting that? Are we the ones that are inhibiting those possibilities? When we are telling an 8-year-old girl that I have to expel you from this school because we don't do that here, she doesn't even know what the hell she did. And I just got pissed off again. We got more of the Dation coming up.